I've been a wild party animal. I've been an extrovert, as I've been saying. So with that comes doing a lot of crazy things. At times, I did struggle with those things where I just don't feel like doing this anymore. I just don't feel like today's a day that I need to go to work.
You
Yeah,
say that you were tired of the kind of person that you're turning out to be.
it all started from recognizing that I disliked being the person that I was. Ugandans are number one in this entire earth in partying and getting outside of the house.
Welcome, it's Men Unmuted, where we get to learn, share experiences, learn from the people who have walked certain paths. And today, we have a special guest, Sean Murigu. Sean Murigu, formerly known as Sean Breezy of NRG Radio. Some time back, he made a post that made many people question. He made a post saying that he's turning his life to Christ and he's stopping the life of the party, the life that he's been living, that people have known him for. That got so many people asking questions. But today we bring him on Men Unmuted to tell us who was Sean Breezy before, Sean Murigu before, and Sean Breezy, and what is going to happen after that. I know that's something that everyone out there is looking out to know what could be Sean's next move. You're welcome. Hi, Sean.
How you doing?
Yeah, so tell us just briefly about where you started from, your
Yeah.
childhood. How was it like?
Thank you, Keith, so much for having me. First of all, it's an honor, and it's really good to sit down and have a conversation. I think at the end of the day, men do need to have these type of conversations, find out more about where they started from, and also where they're going. And we share this because we share the same journey, one and all. And so it's great to have this conversation with you. So kicking it off, my name is Sean Murigu Pruitt. Now I know it sounds like a handful of foreign names, but Sean Murigu is coming from my mother's side, is so it's my name, and then my father's side is Pruitt, and so I took his name. And so now I'm someone who grew up in a Christian household. My mom is really faith based, and so this is my upbringing, as many would say, and many would have said in the entertainment industry. So yeah, that's my upbringing. Grew up and was born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia, United States. Moved to Kenya about when I was 13 years old in 2012 with the whole family. That's me, that's my younger sister, and that's my younger brother, my mom and my dad. And so we've been in Kenya. We've called Kenya our home ever since that time. And for me, at that time when we were moving, I was just getting into high school, so I didn't get that experience of socialization and everything. Because when I came to Kenya, I was someone who was homeschooled by my mother, and we also had a tutor as well. So I did everything at home, and it was just me and my siblings. Um, but we finished high school, and then after that, it was time to go to college, find out what you want to do in your life. And me at that time, I didn't know. I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't know. Just did my SATs, which is the standard exam for the American system. And by that time, I was like, okay, now I'm done with school, but I don't want to continue it to the education system. But I know how important it is to get your education for this life. But in the back of my mind, I kind of always knew I'm gonna do something in entertainment since I was young. I always knew I loved putting a smile on people's faces. I used to be the one at the family functions, making everyone laugh like a class clown. I was the one, dancing when the aunties are saying, "Yeah, Sean, that's my nephew." I'm the one that was like really trying to be the star of the show, and everywhere that I go. And so I always knew that I wanted to be in the entertainment industry. So, but after fast forward, while I was there in or rather still here in Nairobi, I just decided, hey, let me do a course on something that I absolutely find interesting in my hobbies, which is technology. And so I told my mom, listen, I think what I want to do after taking a gap year, by the way, I took a gap year, didn't do anything, just was at home. But then I said, hey, let me knuckle down and actually get into my education, do something that I enjoy. So I told my mom, please enroll me in this school called Moringa. Now, Moringa School is strictly for it's a 2-year program where you all you do is just go and do the program. You get your certificate, then you're able to at least get a job in software development, in website design, in all those type of things. So it was mainly software development and coding. And so I thought that's what I wanted to do in my life. Cap. I I did I think 2 weeks of it, and I realized I don't want to do this. Like literally sitting here in front of a laptop is just like me with all this energy. I sit in front of a laptop all the rest of my
Hmm.
life. So every 9 to 5 was not giving for me. And so I said, let me cut it off from where it started, or rather right now, before it develops into something. So I remember being in class, I was sitting down on my laptop. Then I had already skipped class a few times. I had lied to my mom that I was going to class, yet I was going taking the fare she would give me for that for it and could take it to the music studio, because at that time I was still doing my music. I was a musician with a group, and so I was sitting on the laptop. Then I just said, you know what? I got to build up the courage. I sent my mom a long text, and I had just gotten to class. And I said, I'm sorry you wasted your money. You just paid these school fees, but I'm sorry, your son can't do it. And she basically was like, you should finish the course at least. But me and my hard headedness in that school, they said if you skip 3 times, then you're kicked out. So me and my is once she said no, at least finish the course. I knew there was no negotiating with it, and so I just skipped 3 times, never, and they kicked me out. And so yeah, um, from that time I realized like, man, I really got to find something that I have a passion for. And so even in my sitting at home, I remember one time I was playing. We had a PS, we had a PlayStation at that time at the house, and I was playing PlayStation, and I said, "Nah, I don't want to do this no more." So I just kind of like was scrolling on Instagram, and when I was scrolling on Instagram, I saw my friend, good friend of mine, had auditioned for a new radio station coming up, and yeah, and that radio station was Energy Radio. So my upbringing up to that point was is very like just very. I, I would say, especially after high school, it's very just, hey man, what's next? I don't know what's next. Let's just move with the days.
So which year was that when you auditioned?
When I auditioned, it was it 2018, I believe. Yeah, I think it was 2018.
2018. So you
Yeah.
joined radio, you joined entertainment industry business with no background in entertainment business and nothing. Just start afresh.
Now I did have some background in entertainment, because before then I wasn't I am a musician still till today. I wouldn't say I wasn't, but or I'm not. But rather in that time I was focused on music from my high school. I was in a group. We formed a group, me and my best friends, two brothers called Dionj and Dwayne, and we formed this group called We Are SDP. And so we were the youngins, the fresh cats, in like the upper or like the middle class guys, these guys for like Kilimani, Kilalesho, gaining that type of traction, because we didn't rap in like Swahili, the local language. We rapped in English and Spanish. And
Did you ever
so
see yourself, did you ever see yourself raising to where you actually got?
never, to be honest, never. I never expected that.
So were you just doing radio for fun? Were you just doing it because it was something you could easily do?
For
Because
me personally, I'm not someone who ever listened to radio. I thought radio was dead, because by the time I was 14, 15, we have social media, we had YouTube to go and check if we want to watch something. So radio never hit my mind. I didn't even know people still like apply for jobs at radio.
Mhm.
And so for me, it was more of I'm taking this chance, seeing where it can take me, because I've always been that way. I've always been that type, and it's got me in a lot of trouble. But
Mhm.
I've always been that way. Say, let me do this. I don't know what the consequence may be, but at least I tried.
So how did it feel for you when you eventually emerged and started seeing yourself being the face of energy? What I can say is, I think to me, you are the face of energy. Because I saw you, appearing from the time energy launched. You launched
Mm,
it in
yeah,
Uganda
yeah.
and almost took the front part of every press conference of NRG. I
Mm,
remember last year at the Miss Uganda when you guys sponsored what Sheraton, and you had to speak on behalf of NRG. I'm like,
yeah.
oh, this is literally the face of energy. You're the definition of what energy radio. Because that the energy exuded.
Yeah.
So, but how did it feel when you finally made it and you're in that space where all eyes are on you? When they talk of energy, they think about the Sean
So
Breezy.
for me, it hasn't always been that way. I haven't always been able, as extroverted as I can be, I haven't always been able to produce that in the time when it's needed. Why I say this is because when I first joined radio, like I told you, I got the job of energy back in 2018. I did a syndicate show with DJ Mr. Vince and Fat Man Scoop, with my co-host XT and Della. Now this show was recorded on Wednesday and happened and played on Saturday, while people were, 12 to 1. It was a 1 hour show. And it continued to evolve. Now, I went from recording, we record in a private space, to now, one time I was being put on live for the week. One of the co-hosts for the weekly shows is away. And so when that happened, usually you'll find that I didn't know what to say. I would stutter. I would stammer because first of all, I haven't been trained. Okay, I was trained on how to have the radio voice, the radio look, the radio what, the radio this. But the courage has to come from within. The confidence has to come from within. You can be trained as much as you want, but if you don't have confidence, you're kaput. You're cooked. So for me, I had to build that confidence. I had to step out of my shell. And my producer, I remember when I was actually now taken from the weekend show and put on the weekday show when one of the co-hosts had left, and they said, "Yeah, this is a perfect fit. You be on this show." And so that was my startup of climbing the stairs in the company Energy Radio Kenya. And so when I was put on that show, I remember days my producer would be like, "Why aren't you talking?" I'm like, "Man, they were talking. I don't want to interrupt." Like, let them talk. They know what they're doing. It's like, no, 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 no. You have to. And I thank that producer so much. Her name is Nyakio. But she was always on my back, like, speak. I know you have a lot to say. Just speak. And so I started heeding that word and yielding to that word even more as the days went on. And so when I got after many years of being on Energy Radio Kenya, when I got the call that it's time to go to Uganda, I said, "Who? Me?" It's
You are the
like,
one to Uganda, yeah.
yeah, yeah. So they said, "Hey, you've been with this company for so long, and you've done exceptional." That was that boss Kev. Kev was like, "Yo, I want you to go and open up this new station out in Uganda." I said, "I don't even know nothing about Uganda." He said, "Start researching." And so when I got to Uganda, I said, even before I got to Uganda, I'm glad he gave me a warning. He told me to take a few months to find out more about Uganda, and I did. And so by February, when I was taking the plane out to Uganda, I had a full understanding of who I wanted to be in Uganda, who I wanted to like be totally, and just to step in it fully and not, hold
Yourself.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like sometimes in Nairobi, I would hold back a little bit, but Uganda, man, I was fully Sean Breezy.
Is it because people didn't know you and you're like, let me just do whatever I have to do to shine or to outshine everyone in the market?
Yeah, because you see, when you taken from an environment, and put into a new environment, that's a big opportunity to show whoever you want, because these people don't know you. You know what I mean? It's a fresh start. Everybody looked at it and was like, "Sean, how can you leave Kenya and you go to Uganda? You don't even know anybody there." I was like, "That's the reason why I'm going. I don't know anybody there." It's time to meet some new faces, time to network a little, time to find out about this neighboring country called Uganda that I've never visited or learned much about. And let me see how the entertainment industry is going to handle me. And thank God, Ugandans, I love you guys so much. You guys were very receptive to Sean Breezy.
I tell you something about us Ugandans.
Yeah.
What you show us is what we take until we get to know what the
Mm,
truth is. And
yeah.
then we turn. Yeah.
That's
So,
true.
if I may ask, of course, that comes with a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Entertainment industry is quite interesting, and it comes with a lot of pressure into
Mm,
being in that space. Now you're in
mm,
Uganda. Now all eyes on you.
yeah.
Now the girls. Now the lifestyle. Now everything is just right there
Yeah.
in for you. What are the silent pressures that nobody talks about when it comes to fame and being actually like in the public eye?
Mm. Okay. That's a great question. I have never been asked that question before. So
That's why you're here.
yeah. Man, there's many challenges. I'm not gonna lie to you. Someone who's fresh in the market, you're going to have. I'll say this first: the entertainment industry is cutthroat. um it is cutthroat, and you have to know people in the network already and have them initiate you into the network in terms of, hey, this is so and so, I vouch for so and so. Yeah, and it's not even just one person has to do that thing. It's that multiple people have to say, okay, this guy is actually. And sometimes people do it for selfish reasons, but at the same time it kind of does work out for you, because now your name is being, a good name on your behalf is being spread to people in the in the entertainment industry. And so um I understand when people complain sometimes and say, you know what, I feel like these new artists or new musicians, new MCs, they're not given much room to shine sometimes. Because if I know Keith and Keith knows me, and I know there's maybe this new MC who's better than even Keith or something of the sort, I'm gonna still go to Keith. You get what I'm saying? I'm not gonna look at this guy's talent, but I'm gonna make sure that I give Keith, because Keith is my boy. Keith is, and maybe it you know what I mean. So like it's
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 about who
you
knows
have,
who. Who
huh?
knows you? It becomes
Yeah,
a who knows you.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Talent, know your skill.
Mm. So if so you so it's just like that. That's the entertainment industry in my eyes. And so for me, another challenge that I find is that sometimes, especially when you start over, you have to accept doing things sometimes just for exposure. Get little pay. Get that little pay. Sometimes you do need to be. People say, "Oh, I don't do the exposure thing." So how's your name supposed to be put out there? You're investing in yourself, because you're a brand yourself, and you're a business. And if you look at yourself as a business, then you have to treat it like a business. You're investing. You see, in the beginning of the of a business on a platform that you want to create, you have to put in some capital. You know what I mean? So my capital for emceeing, or my capital for being an entertainer in a new industry, is sometimes I just gotta let some money go. I got to realize, hey, this is an opportunity for me to get exposure, and not really for pay. And once you prove yourself, and once you get to a point where you're able to say, now you've seen my what I can do. Now I'm have to bring up this, you know what I'm saying?
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I think I've experienced what exactly you're talking about in the
Mm,
industry where you just have to show up. They've not paid you, but you have to dress apart. You have to look like you've been paid.
yeah.
It- Those shows where you've actually not been paid, you find
Mm.
yourself doing like bring out the best version of you, and everyone is asking, how much have they paid you?
A man who's in the entertainment industry, who is up there and has a limelight on him, a spotlight on him. People know him. He's great at what he does. His craft is amazing, and people begin to notice, right? So I am that man, and I would say that sometimes it's not as easy as it looks playing the part that I give you. Sometimes I don't feel like um, turning up sometimes for some things. Now, one thing I understand in my life is that Ugandans are number one in this entire earth in partying and getting outside of the house in the evening time. All right. That's number one. Uganda's number one. Um, and Ugandans are also number one in popping bottles on a Tuesday. Ugandans are number one in, yeah, you
Even on a
guys know how
Monday,
to,
we don't.
doesn't, you know, a day is a day. We, as long as we have feet, we will walk to Bandali Rice. And so, so I understood that, and you see, as a someone who doesn't partake necessarily in all those things, in terms of like sometimes and and for me, I'm very financially and money smart, and I tried being that part as much as I can. Sometimes I do overspend. Sometimes I do, do a little bit too much, do the most, but as someone who's a man in the entertainment industry, every time you pop out, people expect you to take care of them. Some people expect you to be popping bottles like they are. People be expecting you to be booking tables every weekend. People be, I'm not that person, guys. I came to work for me personally, like, and for me, like, I do believe if sometimes we do go overboard. We do go overboard, and I wasn't someone who was trying to go overboard all the time. And so sometimes people do look at you and be like, man, this dude ain't popping no bottles. You know what I'm saying? He ain't got no weight. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of them. Another pressure that I would say I deal with internally is always being the uppity person that I've presented before you. Sometimes I do. Everybody deals with things and anxiety. People deal with fear. People deal with all types of stuff that we're all overcoming slowly. But when you present this certain image of yourself, and mine is always uppity, I'm energetic and whatever. Sometimes I do have to play the part. And for radio, as a radio like Energy Radio, man, you really do have to sometimes, or rather all the time, play that part. No matter how you feel, once you get into that studio, you gotta shape
Turn
up.
up.
You gotta turn up. And at times it is fun because sometimes you can enter the studio. You have Sheila Sota, who's my co-host. We had DJ Vance. We had now who's Ao Marcus, who's our DJ. You have a bad day, but then you walk into the studio, you see how joyful it is. You see the presence of you. If you've seen Energy Radio, you see how light and bright it is inside that place. You can't stay sad. And then when you get onto the mic, you actually feel better. You know what I mean? But at times I did struggle with, those things where I just don't feel like doing this anymore. I just don't feel like today is a day that I need to go to work.
If I may
Um,
ask, this is a
yeah.
bit personal. Amid this,
Okay.
all this, do you have like a relationship going on? Did you have, somebody who really needed your time because you seem like you had a very busy schedule? You on air?
In terms of a significant other, or
Yeah, personal. Did you have a relationship, a girlfriend? Somebody in your life?
just like Nairobi, it ain't easy to find love in Kampala.
No, 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 not you. Who has Mariah? How do you fail? How can you not
Hey,
find?
and that's the problem. The variety is there.
Yeah.
And sometimes to lock one down is like, man, but then see Stacy over there. But you
Mhm.
see that you get what I'm saying? And for me, and I've realized that
That is pressure
sometimes,
now. That is
huh?
what you're talking. Being cooked in a pressure cooker there
Bruh.
to make a
So
decision.
to make a decision, it was kind of tough. But when I can't make a decision on something, I let it go. I say maybe it's not the time.
Yeah.
Because yeah, when something is supposed to, I believe in my life, things are just supposed to fall through and flow. I don't need to force anything. I just need to be able to use wisdom and discernment to know what times these are, what season this is. And so I did that a lot. And so when I felt like, even when I stepped back from emceeing, I was like, maybe it is time for me, since I am trying to get out of the club, get out of the bar, get out of the events. Maybe it is time for me to have someone to be chilling at home with. You know what I mean? Someone we can cook something together. But like I said, it ain't easy to find love in Kampala.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the biggest challenges. But let's look at all this. What does it teach about ambition? Relationships. And
Yeah.
even self-control. Because I'll give it up to you for being able to control yourself. Because being able to draw boundaries
Mm.
around that, it's not easy. Especially the
Yeah, no, it's not.
entertainment industry is very
Mhm.
tempting. There's a lot of everywhere you turn. There's temptations
Yeah,
for you
yeah.
to stand in there and you're able to draw lines and boundaries around yourself. I'll just give it up to you.
Thank
It's
you,
not an
thank you,
easy.
thank you, thank you so
Uganda
much.
is very easy to spot out your drama. If you have anything going on, I can tell you it will leak out like in the next 5-10 minutes, and everyone will know what's going on. But I
Yeah.
don't think we'll find anything about Sean in
Mm,
Uganda,
mm.
and I don't know how you're playing it, but that's what I. So I don't know. I don't know. I will leave that to you. You know what you did. So what did this teach you about ambition, relationships, and even self-control?
Okay. Now, for me, I've been a wild party animal. I've been an extrovert, as I've been saying. So, with that comes doing a lot of crazy things. You do a lot, you try a lot of crazy things. You try a lot of this, you try a lot of that. You find out what is meant for you and what is not meant for you. Now, someone who's always been faith based, I've been someone who always loved to pray. As much as I wasn't really grounded in reading my word, doing all those things that as a good Christian should do. But I was I grew up in faith. I knew that faith is the seed that can turn a mustard seed into a mustard tree, one of the biggest trees, tallest trees. You know what I mean? So all I've ever run with is faith. And sometimes when you're standing in the center of all the commotion, all the distractions, you remember your faith. You remember what your foundation is. You remember what your mom taught you. You remember what you learned, in those things. And so sometimes when I do get too deep in something, I realize, hey, maybe I am going too deep. Maybe it's time for me to pull back in this because this is not who I know I am called to be. And so that has always ringed in the back of my mind. So I'm able to draw those boundaries now. Sometimes I did have to learn the hard way of where to draw those boundaries in terms of, let's say, relationships. You know what I mean? I am someone who gives off quality time too soon. I am someone who overshowers someone a bit too soon. I had to learn that sometimes these women, they like to use us. So and so it's time to drop.
You're right. Spot on.
So I had to draw boundaries and say, don't give too much just yet. Find out more about the woman that you're talking to. Or if it's in terms of my work, I need to understand where my burnout is. I need to understand, okay, as much as I have ambition to become the best MC, as much as I want to become the best radio presenter, I need to know when to take it back and rest, and when to clear my thoughts, and when to even sit down and pray. When you're in the middle of distraction, you can't even sometimes pray and just come back to your creator and say, Lord, I thank you for this day. And so as I'm getting closer and closer to where I want to be, um, the things I experienced or the things I still experience to this day teach me where, okay, it's time to draw the line. It's time to, let that person sit out of your life. It's time to let that thing sit out of your life for now. It's time to you like I said before, I really pray all the time for wisdom and discernment to discern the season that I'm in so that I know how to act accordingly.
you know, I'm not, the best Bible scholar,
Yeah, yeah.
but they say teach your kids or your children the ways of God, that when they grow up, I'm sure now you understand what I'm saying.
Yes, I
So
do. 100%.
your navigation through this industry could have really the foundation that your mom gave you as a child, trying to create a relationship with God at a young age created a very strong foundation for you to be
Yeah.
able to do this. And how has that experience been with, being around some of, the young people who may not have the same background
Mm.
as you have,
Yeah.
and what difference you see there?
Okay. Wonderful question right there, kid. One of the things that I've realized is yes, not everyone grew up the same way that I did. I was very blessed, actually, to have a mother who grounded me in such deep faith. You know what I mean? And so when I see others, my only job, and I believe this is my only job, is to share that. I share it. I in any way possible. Let me tell you, I'm someone like I said. Sometimes I won't always be okay. But 95% of the time, I'm spewing my energy to other people because I just have too much. God bless me with too much, and one thing about me as well, I have a listening ear, and my mom, I think, is something that I had from a young age. As much as I I want to be the star of the show, I still like to sit back and have a listening ear, listen to people, and sometimes that's all it takes as well, just listening to someone, listening to what they went through, listening to what they're going through, listening to um just how their day was. Some people don't have, like, I take for instance, me and my mom's relationship. Me and my mom, I can say we have a close relationship even as adults. I can tell my mom anything that I'm going through, and we can sit there and talk about it. Not everyone has that because not everyone was able to have that relationship and that foundation when they were growing up with their parents. Luckily, I did, and my mom taught us that you should be free to speak what you want, what you would like to say. Express yourself, whether it be through art, whether it be through music, whether it be through your voice, whether it be whatever way that you use to express yourself. My mom is a very creative woman herself, and so I feel like having that was really, really essential for me. Because as much as we can pray, God blesses us with people around us that also are example of His nature, and my mom is that for me. My mom has always been that for me. So I just feel like um that same foundation, I can share it. I can share it. I don't have to keep it to myself. The same things my mom taught me, I can be an example of that. Or how she brought me up, I can be an example of that to somebody else. And I try to do it with everyone else, everyone that I come in contact with. I don't dismiss anybody. I don't care if you're up, or I don't care if you think you're down. I don't care if you're rich. I don't care if I don't dismiss nobody because everybody has their own story. Everybody is just like me, a human being. Yeah. So honestly, I just like giving a portion of what I've been given.
Wow. I'm going to ask you a question. Amidst
Yeah.
all these things, because everyone always has a turning point in life, and they
Yeah.
always at that day. Just like you said, you're also surprised how you jumped out of it. But I'm sure that was that moment, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
what was that moment that started making you question the lifestyle, the industry, the things that you're doing?
Yeah.
Could have been a U-turn for you to say, no, I think I'm going to stop here, make a U-turn and go back,
Yeah.
do it afresh.
Well, it, like I say, is that it wasn't just a turning point. It was as if it was, when you go on like you can U-turn. You can just go through that little thing when you're driving a car. You just go through and you turn directly. Mine was more of a roundabout and coming back the other side. You get what I'm saying? I was literally driving along this road, this journey, and I'm passing every different exit that I could have went. But I came back and then it was just like a 180, you know what I mean? So it was a slow cook. It was a pressure cook. It was
Was
literally,
roundabout that had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 different exits that you could have
you know what I
taken.
mean?
That you have to stop all of them.
I said, "Hey,
Wow.
wait, is this the exit?" I even stop a little bit. I say, no, this doesn't look like it. I keep driving. But the turning point, like I said, it was a slow cook. So I it all started from recognizing that I disliked being the person that I was, this Sean Breezy character. I started disliking it. And I'll be honest, I was turning into someone who drinks every Okay, Monday I was turning. I drink. I start on Thursday or Wednesday. Drink all the way to Sunday. Monday and Tuesday I rest my body. I'm getting old. My bones and my flesh, it started crying, saying, "Hey, we're not 18, we're not 17, we're not 16 anymore." You know what I mean? My spirit started crying and saying, "Hey, look at, like, there's more in life than this. There's more in life than this." And it stemmed from the drinking. I would tell you that for a fact. Overindulging, and not only just alcohol, but in Africa we have fake alcohol. We have alcohol that is not legitimate. People concoct those things at the back, and so it takes toll. It takes a toll on your body, you know. And I was very tired of it taking a toll on my body. Yet it felt like I was in bondage because I wanted to still be present in this club scene. I want to be present and have fun. I didn't know fun other than that. I started going to the club when I was 15 years old. 16 years old. That's all I knew was fun. That was the only thing I knew was fun. Going to the club, you party, you enjoy yourself, you go back home. You do it the same day, the next day, and if it's a weekend, if you don't have anything to do, right? And so I was getting tired. I said, "What, man? My body's aching. I have to take 2 days out of my day to even recover." By Wednesday, I'm feeling okay, but then by Wednesday afternoon, or sorry, Wednesday evening, I'm back at full.
Until Sunday.
until until Sunday. Um, so that's how it kicked off. And honestly, then afterwards, I said, and it was a big prayer of mine. I said, Lord, I just give me other hobbies, give me other things to do, give me the desire to get out of this place. And this desire started slowly coming. uh and it's so funny, this transformation, this deciding factor. Every time I would be thinking of these things in Uganda, but then when I take a trip back to my mom's house in Nairobi, I would make, or rather, I would have a final decision by the time I'm leaving here. It's like I was saying before, your environment matters. You can be so distracted and be caught up in the distractions over there, but when you get out of the distractions, the things that are keeping you back, and you come to a new environment, you can realize, hey, you can think, you can, actually get or get revelation easier when you're outside of the distractions. And so, yeah, afterwards, everybody saw that time when I came back to Nairobi, um I dropped off emceeing because it was something on my heart that I feel like God told me to drop off to start this process, because the emceeing was keeping me in the bars, keeping me in the clubs, keeping me in the events, and I'm trying to stop drinking. Sometimes I would have 3 gigs in a night on like a Friday or Saturday, and I have already been partying the night before maybe, and then I have to go to the gigs. I have to continue drinking to get that energy to go back on stage. Alcohol is a hell of a drug.
There's a time I saw you at Chadondo Rugby. There was something at the
Yeah,
back. I think that was when you're still doing the activations for Energy Radio.
yeah.
And I looked at you and I said, where does this guy get all this energy?
Now first of all, that's natural. That my energy is natural. I could do
And I
that even
said,
when I'm
where
sober. But
where does this guy get all this energy? Like, you know?
yeah.
It's not easy, especially if most of all your friends, are in the
Mm,
same industry, the people you're connected to, the people you talk to on a daily,
yeah.
the people in the industry where you are. But you've mentioned something that you know that has touched me.
Mm,
Um, it's very hard for you to get clarity when you're mixed up in many things. Sometimes for you to get clarity, you need to isolate yourself and step.
mm, yeah.
I'll use an example of a building that you know here in Kampala. Let's say if you want to get a clear view of, Workers' House,
Yeah.
you can't see it when you're actually standing where Workers' House is.
Mm-hmm.
Want to have a clear view of Workers' House, you have to step away on the side so that you're able to see the entire Workers' House, and you're able
Mm-hmm.
to look at the beauty of that place. And I think you stepping away and pulling away and going back to the atmosphere that put you in a position of having to be clear,
Yeah.
uh, I think gave you more clarity on many things.
Mm.
that you have somebody who has already spoken into your life. Your mom has spoken into your life spiritually, in so
Yeah.
many ways, could help. What do you have to say about somebody who probably doesn't have, where to fall back?
Yeah.
Because in Uganda, there was a notion that when I remember growing up, I used to see people on TV. There's a guy called Jay Kazora, and I used to tell my parents that when I grow up, I want to be on TV. And they told
Mm.
me, if you get on TV, don't you ever show up home again, because they used to think being on TV or what was for spoiled people. The people in the industry have nowhere to go apart from that.
Yeah.
What do you think? What's the advice? What do you think about this person who is in the same space but does not have that control falling back and has nobody to fall back on?
Well, man, and this goes back to that foundation. I like that. I like that question because at times it is hard. I have friends also who are in the same industry that feel like they don't have anybody to fall back on. They, for me personally, I feel like God has positioned us with people around us, and so many people in different journeys and walks of life and different experiences. But more, you can find that you can see that people may have more wisdom about certain things than you, maybe walking the same journey. So I always believe that you need five people in your life. um a spiritual mentor, because we all come from somewhere and we come from a spirit and just in this human body. So you need a spiritual mentor. You need also uh two people who you can say are your closest friends or your brothers or sisters that you can that you're walking in this life with. All right. And then also you need someone you can look up to, and a physical person you can look up to. It doesn't actually, they don't have to be a physical person, but just someone you look up to, that you say, I want to have the qualities of this person, I want the characteristics of this person. And then also have someone, the last person is someone you can mentor. Okay. These are the five people that I believe especially men, should have. Um, because this system right here, sometimes your spiritual mentor won't be available, and then you maybe need you need to lean on your brothers and sisters who are walking the same walks of life with you, and you need to sit down and talk with them and come up with a conclusion, right? And even more so, when I say this, even more so, if you have five of these worldly, carnal people, you should also have five also who are walking in the same spiritually as well. I have those two, Deonj, and I have my brother Dwayne, who are in the same walk with me. We started out in the world, now we're moving into Christ. I have my spiritual mentor who's always been there, and he's a man as well. Um, he's there. I also my mom, and then I have a role model who I look up to. One of them being this fellow called Myron Golden, who's a billionaire, or if not a millionaire, I think he's a millionaire. Um, and he's also very, very God centered, because he says in his testimonies all the time, I wouldn't be where I am if I don't hang and cling on to God. Hey, you know what I mean? And then also I have people who I mentor who are able to come to me as their role model and say, hey, because even what it does, it edifies you. The things you teach, you retain. And the more you retain, the more the wisdom is added unto you and everything, and knowledge. So I have those five people, and I suggest everybody try finding those five people, but more likely for people who are trying to seek the foundation. The foundation is Christ, and I will say that right now, that my foundation is Jesus Christ. When I read into the Holy Bible, when I read more about His life, when I read more about what God has done for me and for us as humanity, I begin to understand more of myself and find my identity there. And so that's my foundation. Even when these other five are not available, my foundation, I run back to the word, because the word was written by so many different people. But it's God inspired, written by several people, 66 books of different people writing, but it has the same message. And so I don't look at it as a lie, to look at it as the truth. And that's basically my also my foundation, especially right now, if anything. So for those people out there who are looking for that, sometimes it starts through a human being. starts to me telling you, like, hey, come over here on this side. I have what I believe is the truth.
There's something you mentioned. You
Yeah.
say that you were tired of the kind of person that you're turning out to be, the kind
Yeah.
of life living. I think for any person to be able to make a shift in their life, you have to get tired.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
You have to get tired.
Yeah.
And I think until you're really tired, you'll not know that you actually need somebody to get that fatigue off you, to take that load
Yeah.
off, and then,
Yeah.
ask for help. But, one of the biggest challenges that we face, especially as men, as young men, we're told that you have to hold up stuff. Okay?
Mm. Yeah.
Like you're
True.
saying, pressures that you're facing, you have to keep up appearances. You
Yeah.
have to, even when you're tired, you can't say, I'm tired.
Mm.
Because the pressure is on you that you have to keep up the appearance and you have to keep up the standard and you have to keep showing up and you have to keep, you know? So I think you made a very good statement that you said that you're really tired. So I think one of
Mm.
the things that we have to accept is say, get to a point where you say, I'm tired.
Yeah.
If you say, I'm tired, certain decisions can never happen. Certain things can never happen. So
Mm.
yeah, now we move it from Sean Breezy. Now we have back Sean Murigu.
Yeah.
Murigu, very
There you
careful
go.
pronounce your name. Yes. So
Yeah.
that transition going back, how has the decision to follow Christ actually affected your relationship, career, and daily routine generally? How are you feeling moving into that journey now?
I don't know, but I have a Holy Spirit glow. But I feel the presence of God all the time, and I feel so joyful when I speak about it because God has transformed me. God has really transformed me. I'm not talking about just spiritually. When your spirit, it says when like the word of God is health to your flesh and your bones, and it's true. It is true. When I was in the world, because of the fake alcohol and things that I was doing, it started taking a toll of my it started to take a toll on my body. My left side
But
started to
but
become
Sean,
numb at times.
you always look fresh. I always ask myself, does this guy first go for scrubs, skincare routines, whatnot? You always showed up when you're popping, like fresh out of Kampala. So I don't know what all on your skin you're talking about.
Yeah, man. So the thing is, looking fresh, I feel like that has always been God in me. That has always been God. Even though I wasn't close to God, I wasn't praying, I wasn't intimate with Him, not trying to seek Him or whatever tells me I should do. I still had God in me, and I just excelled in putting myself out there. Sometimes, you do feel down. Like I told you, you get hangovers for 2 days or whatnot, and then you get tired of it, and you put them off to the side, and you say, "God, this is not what you want from me." And so you must get tired. I like that you said that. You must get tired, and then that's where you encounter God Himself. When you get tired, like now, I'm here now. You
Yeah, but
like I like and it's not just that I'm here. I feel like God was giving me a time limit to say get tired. He was showing me in several different ways and different things that it's time to get out of this season and move to the next. I would have dreams. I would have certain things happen to my physical body. My left side, sometimes I'd wake up and it's completely numb. Sometimes even my arm would be inactive when I wake up. It takes a few minutes for me just shaking it to wake it up. Especially those days when I did over binge drink and go 3 days partying. You know what I mean? And so I said, "Whoa, hold up! I'm thinking this is normal. This is not normal." I had to get out of that space and be like, "This ain't normal for real." I went to the physicians. I went to the chemists. I went to the doctors and tried to ask them like, "What's going on?" They all kept telling me, you gotta leave the alcohol alone. You gotta leave this alone. You gotta let your body rest and do it, detox and let it do what it's doing. But of course, the distractions continue to pull you back. You know what I mean? But so putting off those distractions, it wasn't just me. It was prayer. And then after prayer, God told me to start entering into His Word and reading His Word for myself. I used to be someone who likes to listen to a pastor, listen to a sermon. I like to go and have someone else teach me the word. But God said, this ain't the time for that. You got to go and read it for yourself, because that's where I speak. That's where I'm able to reveal certain things to you. And once I started reading, even alongside my bandmates, I told you we formed a band called We Are SDP, and God was doing their thing over them as well, taking them through the same fire as well, telling them the same thing. And I hadn't been talking to them for months. But when we came back, when we started having conversations, we found out we were both in the same journey of, and God was leading us into this place of now dropping everything of the world, dropping the alcohol, dropping the partying, dropping the women, dropping, indulging in things that really don't please God. And it's not been easy. There's many times I have come out on social media and I said, guys, I'm transformed. And then I go right back to the same crap, right? There's times I go out and I tell people, yeah, now I don't do those things anymore. And then I go back and do those things, and they say, look at this one. What are you saying? And it was several occasions, several seasons where I went through that. Um, but like I said, it's refining fire. It's not just a complete U-turn. This has been in the works. This has been something that God has been putting in me to do. So yeah,
So, and then the decision to follow Christ and in line with your career, because we, known you in the entertainment space, and
yeah,
um, how is that going to evolve, or how are you planning to, let's say, change the content that probably been sharing, or using the
yeah.
same that God gave you that you have,
Mhm.
and say, instead of what I used to say, now I'm going to say Christ is the King.
Yeah.
Is
And
that the direction you're taking? Still use the gift,
that
because He gave you the gift, and that gift, that energy, the aura, the everything is meant to be put to use.
yep, it is meant to be put to use. And everything that I
So
let
should
me
we
tell you
expect
something. Sometimes,
Sean Pruitt? Should we
huh?
expect a new Pastor Sean Pruitt?
No pastor, no pastor, no pastor. I don't like titles, actually, because we're all the same. Especially if you enter into Christ, we're all the same. Sorry, I'm just here to say that right now. We're all the same. In the New Testament, it tells us we're all now to be witnesses of Jesus's love, of Christ's love, of God's love. That's all we're meant to be. So if I'm doing that, I'm just the same as the what's it called, the prophet next to me, or who you call a prophet. I'm the same as that pastor you asked to pray for. You are the same as well when you decide to take that, because the same God who's in them is the same God in you. You get what I'm saying? So I don't like titles. I just like saying I'm a lover of Christ. I'm a follower of Christ. That's all I am. And so, this new phase, and you know what's so funny is you can never understand God's ways, because I was praying even before then to get into the entertainment industry, which God knew would
And He gave
ultimately outget,
it.
you know what I mean? And he gave it to me.
Yeah.
So I can't understand. Sometimes I sit down, I'm like, Lord, you let me go into the entertainment, but he wanted me to go acquire skills. He said, okay, go acquire those skills, know how to do this, know how to do that. So now when it comes time for me to use you, you'll go wholeheartedly and know what to do at that time. And now the time is now, honestly, I believe, to use my gift of emceeing, to use my gift of radio, to use my gift of my voice in general, to use the gift of my energy, the energy he's given me, to now do it for the kingdom of God wholeheartedly. I I'm telling you, I continued to get dreams and revelations even from other people who are Christ centered, about what I should do in that season, in this time. And so I said, enough with the dreams, enough with the revelation. I'm okay, fine. I'm here. I'll do it. I don't care what it costs me. So even on my social media, you can see that I changed my name from Sean Breezy to Sean Murigu. Why I even took on the name Sean Breezy, I believed I needed a stage name to now, so people do not tie the things or the person that I was going to be, because I knew I was going to be reckless, back to my family. You know what I mean? And so now it's time to strip off and be proud of my roots, Be proud of who I am. Be proud of who God gave me, the name God gave me, even before I knew my own name. And that's Sean Murigu. And so I stripped off Sean Breezy. That's done and dusted. Sean Murigu is here. Now I'm someone who is just going to use his platform to spread the word. Because I don't like this thing of religion. I don't like this thing of, oh, this and that. I like when people understand the love of God, and that's it. When you can understand his love, because a lot of people don't understand in this world. They'll say God is a hateful God. God is someone who uh, doesn't even see what's going on. God is a God who's not in control. But when I begin to dive into the word and I find out that the word speaks on the type of God God is, and you begin to see it through people that he's either, shaped and reformed, the people who he's laid his judgment upon, you realize that God is consistent and he's always been the same. It's just that we have been blinded to not understand that these things, to not gauge or even have the desire to seek who God is, who our maker is, who our creator is. I keep telling my friends all this thing all the time. You were born alone. You were born alone, right? Now let's say you were born just the same way, alone, but you were really alone in the entire world. You don't know how you got here. You don't know how these trees ended up here. You don't know what these things in the sky called clouds are. You don't know what dirt, you don't know anything. You know what I mean? You would have to think somebody created this stuff. I just woke up. I just got here. I just laid here. So if when I look into creation, I say, okay, this fruit. I go to a tree. I pick up the fruit. Let's say I'm alone. Let's say I'm Adam in the Garden of Eden. I go and pick a fruit. I taste the fruit. It's good. I feel good in my body. Then I have to say, okay, whoever put me here must be good. They gave me this fruit. Okay, let me start walking. Hey, shoot, I have legs. I can get from point A to point B by myself. You get what I'm saying? So that's called experiencing and actually experiencing who God is. That's how I walk up my daily life. I see God in my creation, in his creation, in everywhere. I see God through people. I see God through. I've never seen him with my physical face. I've heard his voice 100% through his word and things that he tells me through dreams, through whatever. But that goes to show even more how much God loves me and how much he would love for me to present him to other people.
Wow. I need to subscribe to your next YouTube channel.
So now I do have a new podcast called The Remnant, man.
The Remnant. What?
The Remnant, yeah. My first
Oh
episode is coming out
wow!
on Tuesday.
Just put it out and let's just go. We'll be there to listen to
Oh man, that's
the
amazing,
amazing
man.
things that God is doing in your life. So for the young, um, for the young people, like you said, people that you meant, people that looked up to you, chasing fame, success now as young, guys coming up, growing. Because these days, the young people look up to everyone around them, and they have access to the social, so they pick on anything.
Mhm.
What's the one piece of advice? What's the one piece of advice you'd want to give to these young boys growing up, wanting to be
Okay,
like,
all right.
maybe seeing where you are as the epitome of their success?
Okay, wow, that's amazing. Um, I'll give the two answers. I'll start with the worldly one. Um, if I'm talking to a young man out there, I would say you have to have some type of faith for anything to work. Anything, whether it's faith in yourself, whether it's faith in God, whether it's faith in pleasing some, like you have any small type of faith can take you anywhere. If you have faith that you'll fail, you will fail. You'll look at the whole entire world and say, "Dang, this whole world is just full of failure." But once you have that small bit of faith and say, "You know what? I don't have to do this. I don't have to be here. If I want to be somewhere else, I will try it today because today is the only day we experience. We've never seen tomorrow and we'll never see yesterday again. We only have now. We only have today. So if today I say, I want to go to Dubai, The way that I start perceiving life and the way that I start to understand life is, and my center of focus will be getting to Dubai. You'll start seeing people start being led to your life. Uh, Conversations, you'll start having conversations randomly. Someone brings up Dubai. And they say, hey, out of all the things that they've been talking about, the only thing that you picked out was the Dubai. And then you start venturing into understanding more about this Dubai. And one step at that's how it happens. One step at a time, you'll get to Dubai. One day you're gonna say, "Hey guys, I'm over here at the Burj Khalifa," and because all you need is that small seed of faith, man. And sometimes it is hard to have that faith when things are just looking bad. Things are looking bad around you. But like I told you before, sometimes you got to change your environment, and you can change your environment sometimes. You have the opportunity every day to take a walk. You can never tell me you can't take a walk. People say, "Oh, but no, you can take a walk." That's changing your environment as you are walking. You're going from, let's say, you're walking from Bandali Rise. You're going now to Lugogo. You've changed your environment how many times? You're seeing different things every single second. Your mind is expounding. And let's say Bandali Rise was the one that was keeping you so confined. Step out of where you are. Go take a walk. Go take a breather. That's why it's very important to do so. So small faith can take you amazing places. That's just the foundation of it. If you say, and let your no be no and your yes be yes. Don't be maybe. Don't be I don't know. Don't be. Those are things that we can keep for the ladies. Let them say I don't know, maybe, because they honestly do submit to a man. They do honestly look up to a man's guidance. Let us know. Let our yes be yes and our no be no. You know what I mean? Be sure about what you want to do. If you don't want to do it, say no. If you do want to do it, say yes and say it sternly. Now, for the spiritual aspect, it's kind of the same thing. Um, Having Christ as your foundation or God as your foundation, even if you don't know who God is, if you don't know who Christ is, but you just say, you know what, Lord, I understand that when I leave this earth and when I die, I won't rest. The person who I am won't rest. I'm not built with chemicals. I'm not just chemicals. I'm not just a nervous system. I'm not just a circulatory system. I'm not just a respiratory system. All that stuff will be left behind. But who is the deeper, most innermost man? And sometimes we don't know where to start. All I say is like, have in your heart the willingness and desire to want more. And this spiritually, this physically, this mentally, this emotionally. Have that desire to want more. It starts from desire. Have that desire to want more, and you will always get more. I'm telling you, one of my favorite verses in the Bible, Matthew 6:33. Everybody, a lot of people say it. Seek first the kingdom and his God's kingdom and his righteousness, and all things will be added unto you. Not some, not partially, not a little bit, not just like this 1%. No, all. And all starts from seeking him. And he didn't say find God. People say, go find God. Can we ever find God as humans? I don't know. God is so big. We can't even understand the entire existence of who God is, because I feel like we'd explode if we understood it. We wouldn't even, our human body couldn't contain who God is. But he reveals himself glory to glory, grace to grace. And so, yeah, man, seek him. Really seek him and say, Lord, I honestly think that my life is better than what it is right now. I don't know who you are, maybe. I don't know if prayer will even get anywhere. But I have faith that I want to honestly get somewhere outside of my life. And if you love me, because I know you do, then I believe you'll show me somewhere else, something else. Yeah,
That's very true. I mean, when you talk about the spiritual side of life that has the
yeah,
infinite, uh, way of looking at it,
yeah,
and the finite side of the world, the things that we live in,
yeah.
God made them for us. But like you said, the same things that you want, God can give them to you. But then
Mm,
we'll still, wait to see whether after giving you all those things, you'll still actually look up to Him, or
yeah,
you will just
yeah.
look up the things that you actually have, and
Mm,
then the rest. So, in as
yeah,
much as yes, we're praying to get into this whole entertainment industry, eventually we'll get it. We'll get where we
yeah,
want.
yep,
But and what next after that? So
yeah,
that the planning, the gap in between there is, I think, what eventually makes us to believe in a higher power, and a
Yeah.
high calling,
Mm.
something that is bigger than what we actually think,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
True. Very true.
It's just, we're coming to the end of this conversation. Um, how is it going, with the public perception of who you're becoming, the
Yeah.
social media, the messages, you wake
Mm.
up in the morning and you're not energy again. And, life has literally like now, boom,
Yeah.
stalled. Now you're just starting
I'm
afresh. How
starting
did
again.
it-
And honestly, it feels like that time when I said, you
like
know
there's
what?
a
I'm leaving Kenya
silence.
behind and going to Uganda.
Everything around you has been silenced now.
Yeah.
And now you're in that place. How are you dealing with
It
it?
feel yeah, it does feel like I'm starting again. Like 3 years ago in 2023, I decided let me start again. I went to Uganda. This is the same thing again. This is now coming back from Uganda, a different man, a different calling, a different purpose, a different change in trajectory. And the reception, I honestly will say, has been nothing but love, I believe. Or rather, what I take in. Everybody can say their hate comments. Everybody can say they can not believe what I'm doing is true and right. Maybe some people think I'm doing it for money, doing it for views, doing it for clout, doing it for this. But um, my perception and the things that I take in is the love. As much as, because something, when I know something, when you know something, when I know I'm a handsome young gentleman, if someone comes and calls me ugly, I'll say, cool, bet. Because I know that ain't true. Okay. So it depends. It all depends on what I'm taking in. So, and I only take in the love. I only take in the reception, and it's been amazing. I started this remnant podcast, this community that's a radical community for not bowing down to the world and the system that we're in, but bowing down and helping establish and build the eternal kingdom of Christ here on this earth while we're still living. Because for God's kingdom, so sorry, for the kingdom of the world, if I can say so myself, it's for selfish ambition. It's all for you. It's all for me. It's all for I gain. If I don't gain, no, like I don't care about your gain. God's kingdom is about selflessness. It's all about when I leave this earth, my mark, or rather the mark that I'll leave is God's mark, and it will continue in generations to come. That's it right there. And so I'm not, if anybody comes and tells me anything, I know you're just being used by the devil. Get back, Satan. Don't tell me anything, man. I know what I'm called to do. So I can't be swerved
John,
or steered or
as
deceived.
as as we wind up, you told us how
Yeah,
your days used to be like, especially starting from Wednesday. You'd wake up knowing how the day is going to end and how the weekend
yeah,
is going to end.
yeah.
So just take us just briefly about
Through
how
my
the
day.
new day, the new Sean,
Okay.
and how the new days begin. You wake up at
All right.
4 in the morning
Um
and pray and
mm.
shakala babada shataya, and do you fast? Are you fasting? Tell us this
Yeah.
new Sean and how the day of Sean goes without radio,
Okay.
without anything, without yeah.
I'll be honest. This is me every day. After I signed my resign letter and I gave it in, this has been my day. I wake up at 3 a.m. I do either a worship or prayer. It can extend all the way up until 5 a.m. So that's 2 hours, and then I'll go back to sleep. And then when I go back to sleep, I'll wake up at 7. I sleep for 2 hours, wake up at 7. I will get into a Bible study now with my, like I told you, Dion's and Dwayne, like my brothers, who we were doing music with before. Now we get into a Bible study. We'll do the Bible study now by ourselves in prayer by ourselves to be filled with the Spirit first, and then we take that Bible study to TikTok. And we have a community, a remnant community that we wake up with at 8 a.m. in the morning. We do have also a WhatsApp community and a Discord community. So we all wake up at that time and we get into a live Bible study that is being put out into the public. All right. We don't just want to keep the community closed. That will go up until anywhere from 10 to 11 a.m. By noontime, it's time to eat, time to allow myself to relax, time to allow myself to um, seek and find out more about the things I want to do right now with my life. Time to use that time to learn, time to use that time to search, time to use that time, especially right now. I'm really, because I did it I resigned by obedience. God told me to resign. I resigned just like that, no backup plan. So right now I'm waiting on the Lord to bless me with something else. And I honestly do know He'll bless me with something else because I've never really leaned on myself to find the things that it always come to me. That's what I believe. And it always has come to me. Now until about maybe I will go to my mom does she has shops, she's an entrepreneur, she has businesses, and so sometimes I will go that side, hang with ma and find out, chat with ma, and all those things, but down to the evening, um more or less I feel like my 5, 6, 7 is more about also just soaking in God's presence. By 8 p.m. I'm back in Bible study again. It sounds like a lot, but this is the work that I've been given right now, because it is a 9 to 5 basically, but it is a 9 to 5 to God, for God's kingdom. You know what I mean? It's
It
totally
sounds very
opposite from what someone else would be doing, in
if
the like what I would regularly be doing in my day. But God has said, this is now the work that I'm giving you.
if
And
I may summarize it, you've
yeah,
just switched all the content, the information, the activities that you used to do, and just switch them with only, you know, spiritually refreshing,
yeah.
what God music.
Mm.
Switch the music now to that. So the whole shift in your life, basically.
Everything gone. How I believe this to be, and how it was ordained from the beginning. Genesis, it says God created man, which is Adam. Adam then God took the rib and made Eve. Then from there they got kids. You see that sequence right there. That how it went. It went from God to man to wife to kids. That's the way it's always been. God hasn't changed, and that's how He expects it to be. So as a man, you need to stop leaning on yourself. I personally, I've seen men who lean on themselves and they depend so much on themselves that they can land or fall into depression by doing so, because they don't have a foundation. You know what I'm like? You can fall into so many different things because that void was meant to be filled by God. Your direction needs to come from God directly. And that comes through reading your word. That comes through prayer. That comes through fasting. And I know a lot of times we do see, let's say, pastors, right? Let's say, for instance, pastors. Sometimes pastors' kids are the most rebellious. You know what I mean? They can be the most rebellious people, and they do the wildest things. Why I say that sometimes is because maybe the truth wasn't implemented in the man of the household himself. You can find house sometimes households are crumbling just because the man himself didn't put his trust in God. He didn't, because I don't know what to do as a man. I don't know. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I know what society wants me to do, but myself don't know what I am as a man. I don't know my purpose. I don't know my identity until I find it in Christ. And so that's what I believe, is that Christ is the head of the household. The man submits to Christ. The woman submits to the man and listens to the order that the man is supposed to give of the house to keep his house in order. And then the kids submit to the mom. They submit to the dad. Have the fear of the dad. The fear of the Lord is within the man. So the kids have that fear of, say, if we go against dad's rules, you know what's going to happen. If you're not obedient to dad, you know what happens. That's why sometimes even mother says, "Hey, you need to tell your dad what you did when you get back when he gets back. Hey, I'm gonna tell your father about this, because now the father is the one that's supposed to, at the end of the day, submit, or rather, implement. Sorry, the rules in the house. So for me, a man will not know how to lead his household if he does not know how God expects him to lead, or how He's created us to lead, rather.
Wow, that's some deep revelation there. You know, some
Amen.
everyone
Thank the
should
Holy Spirit.
subscribe to your Remnant podcast because
Thank you
there's
so
a lot of
much, Keith.
wisdom oozing there. You know. All right,
Yeah.
so Sean, thank you so much.
All right, that was Sean Murigu for you, not Sean Breezy anymore. And yes, it's been a wonderful conversation with Sean. And all I can say is, we wish him the best of what God has planned for him ahead. And for you who's watching us, thanks for watching. All you can do is just go down in the comment section, tell us what you think. Who do you think should be your next guest that you'd want to hear from? And we'll bring that to you live. Yes, I would like to encourage you to go ahead, like, subscribe, notification button, so that anytime we get to post a new episode, you're able to get a notification and you don't miss out on any good conversation that we're having that could guide you in your life. It's Men Unmuted, where we get to talk about life and a safe space for men. And you could be our next guest. See you in the next episode.